What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. It's a nice, cool Sunday. I'm just sitting out here. This is my cassava farm. You can see it goes on forever. I'll actually do a video on that later. But what I want to talk about today is de-escalation. I want to talk about bringing the temperature down in our collective rooms, right? And why I want to talk about it is because as a content creator, as I make videos and I state my opinions about what I think it is that we should do as black people, as Africans, there are people who disagree with me. There are people who don't feel like it's time to reconcile because they're currently in the heated battle, right? And I argue with these people sometimes in my comment section. I argue with them, and sometimes it gets heated, right? I get upset. Now, I can usually keep my cool, and I usually give people the opportunity to state their piece before I get a little, I get a little tough, And let's be honest. A lot of you guys know I can be an asshole. I can be an asshole. I'm not gonna sit there. I'm not perfect. Some people piss me off, and I'd be like, "Man, you beep beep, you la 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 la." I don't go too far, but y'all get what I'm saying. But that's what I want to talk about, because every now and then I'm able, when I'm talking to somebody that has enough rationalness about them, even though they have strong opinions, we tend to, if we go back and forth enough, we kind of reconcile within the conversation, and we bring it back to a regular brotherly or brother and sister like conversation, right? And I like to do that because I truly don't like arguing with my black people. I find it draining to argue with people who I'm trying to unite against because it's counterproductive, right? Fighting with people, who I'm trying to unite is counterproductive, but sometimes you have to do it, right? Depending on what the topic is. And an issue that I'm actually talking to one right now, and we're being very respectful, and they started to use they were using the word tether. And I'm trying to convince them that we shouldn't use the word tether. You see, Tariq Nasheed made the word up tether, right? To distinguish African Americans from other Africans, right? And I don't like it, right? Because if you pay attention to the source of the word, it's coming from a grifter, right? And he's joning, right? It's something in America we call joning or shooting the dozens. It's purposely meant to disrespect, not simply to separate, but to disrespect a group of people, right? And it's akin to the word, the N-word, right? With a hard ER. And that's what it's being used for on purpose, right? So the FBA has created a word, tether, that they like to use to talk trash about anybody. And to the point to where it's not even well defined, because I get called a tether, right? And I'm like, I'm an African American. I'm a patriotic African American who fought for his country. You can't get no more African American than me, right? Yet you got people, because they disagree with me, calling me a tether, right? And in the context of xenophobia, it's equal to calling somebody the N-word with the hard ER, right? It's almost like Tariq Nasheed created a word that a black person can say that has as much power or can simulate the same power as the hard ER. And you all know how disrespectful it is when white folks, call us that. Even though that power, they're losing the power of that right now. The power of that word is being diminished, right? But I just find it disheartening that there are black people who would try to create their own version of that word that they can use against other black people, right? Don't you know, white people justify using the word, the N-word, right? And what do they use the N-word for now? What do they use the N-word now for, right? Let's think about it. They use the N-word when they get mad. Even you can have a white person that's like your bestest friend, right? As soon as they get drunk or get mad, all of a sudden you're N. And then they can justify why they called you an N, because you got them mad, or because you were not acting like a standard stereotypical black person who makes them comfortable. So because of that, you are now an N, right? That's what the word is used for. So now we have African Americans using the word tether in the same manner for the same reason. And then when you ask them why they use the word tether, they give you the same explanation. So you're further dividing us by creating a word to separate yourself. You see all the separation? So you're dividing and conquering your own selves, right? And these same African Americans using the word tether will get offended by a word like akata, They say, oh, somebody called me a kata. Somebody called me a kata. Remember, we're the same people who joan on other people. Let's not pretend like in the 90s when Africans was coming over here heavily that we weren't making fun of their accents because we've never heard it before. Let's not pretend like we weren't serious. That's the thing. And you African people got to understand, we were never serious when we were joning or talking trash. That's what we do. If you light skinned, they call you something. If you dark skinned, they call you something. Like in my neighborhood when I grew up, if you was black, you was crunchy black, you was smoke, you was every type of any black object, they'll make something up. They called me Cheeseburger. That was my nickname growing up. Half my damn life, Cheeseburger. By be saying that, there's gonna be some people that remember some dude called Cheeseburger in Fleetwood, Maryland. That's Cheeseburger, Cheeseburger. They were joning on me in my yellow ass skin, and I was fat. We were playing football. What happened was we were playing football, and I'm the shit at football. I probably could have played for the NFL, but I didn't go that route. I didn't want to be a sports celebrity. I said early on I wasn't gonna use my physical gifts. I didn't want to use my physical gifts to excel. I wanted to use my mind because everybody used it. I thought that was the easy route, I swear. Well, I'd end up using my physical gift going to the military, so I guess that didn't work out. But either way, my nickname was Cheeseburger. It was cheese, then Cheeseburger. When they wanted to be more disrespectful, for most of the time they called me Cheese because I'm yellow like cheese. So I got made fun of, but it doesn't mean I have a complex towards my African-American people because people never call me by my name. They call me Cheese, okay? Boys, no matter where you go in this world, boys are mean. Kids are mean. You can't go to if you go to China, all right, your Chinese kids, they may wear the same clothes, but they're mean to each other. They bully each other. That's what boys and adolescents do. Undeveloped brains. Listen, the difference between a hero and a villain is simple. Both the villain and the hero has suffered from a traumatic event. The villain decided that because they suffer from that traumatic event, the villain decided that the world needed to burn so that it could never happen again. That's what the villain decided to do. The villain doesn't believe that they are the villain. They believe they're the hero. The hero decide, I'm going to make sure no one else has to deal with that trauma again. I'm going to fight against that trauma. I'm not going to categorize everybody. I'm not going to make everybody evil. I'm going to fight against that trauma. That's the only difference between a villain and a hero. How they react to trauma. How they respond to trauma. And African Americans, we need to be heroes and not villains towards our own people. And Continental Africans, you need to be heroes and not villains towards your own people. Yes, there are derogatory words that are said about African Americans. But you got to understand where those derogatory words came from. They came from ignorance. They came from white people programming our people. That's why, if you notice, it's the older folks that carry most of that ignorance. Because they were educated to be ignorant. And it's our job as the generation that precedes them to dispel that ignorance. So you got to understand why people are ignorant. Always ask why. Look for the root of the ignorance. And stop blaming the ignorant person themselves, but let's blame the authors of that ignorance. African Americans, the reason why we believe and made fun of Africans is because we were programmed by those white people to believe that ignorance. Always ask why, right? So we know on both camps, from the Caribbean, the Africans, the African Americans, all of us have been programmed by white people to hate each other. We've been given the stereotypes to beef with each other. We've been separated with our language. All this stuff was done and designed and authored by white people. As soon as we figure that out, we can dispel that and give ourselves the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the conversations that we be having. And somebody has to be the bigger one in the room. You can't expect African people to respect us in conversation if we're openly and purposely disrespecting them. If we're creating words to disrespect Caribbeans and any other black person that's not an African American. If you are starting a conversation with disrespect and ad hominem attacks to your brothers and sisters, you can't expect to have a productive conversation. Same goes for Continental Africans and Caribbeans. If you start disrespecting African Americans, you can't expect us to understand your plight. All of us are coming from different parts of this issue. We're all coming from different perspectives of the white man and his terror on the world. All of us had to deal with different things from the white man. All of us have different effects for what happened to us on the white man. But keep in mind, it's that same white man. That South African white man, that British white man, and that American white man, that's the same white man. Just like we're the same, all of us are the same. We're West Africans. We are West Africans for the most part. I mean, I know I got some East Africans in there. You know, we got some when I say West Africans, I always know I'm including my Central Africans too, because those are we are Central African too. We need to put some more respect on Central Africa's name, to be honest with you. We always say West Africa, but you know, Central Africans are us. That's us, okay? And a lot of us, you know, we got some, you know, you East Africans in there too. But for the most part, this is really a West African issue, Central African issue we have it around the world. This is a Bantu issue, you know? That's what this is. And we just have to, somebody has to be the bigger one in the room. African Americans, if you're so great, if we're so great, and we're so mature and we're so advanced, then we need to be more mature and more advanced in the conversation that we have. Have an understanding. Somebody has to start the conversation off correct. Somebody has to show some restraint. Continental Africans, if you're so cultured, if you have so much culture about you, and you have so much of your history and your root and all that stuff, then show us that true African culture. Show us that respect that we should be having, and be the bigger one in the room. I challenge all of you to be the bigger one in the room. You get mad at somebody calling you a kata, but you trying to call somebody a tether. It's disrespectful. When you call an African a tether or Caribbean a tether, you're disrespecting yourself, because them are your brothers and sisters. Look at how America is treating us now. Look how they treating Haitians. Look what the Republicans are doing to get the white scared vote. They're threatening our brothers and sisters in America to deport them. They're putting false allegations saying they're eating cats and dogs and shit. Now a lot of them are under threat. People who just come to America to live a life. Do you know why Haiti is so messed up? African Americans, why you're talking trash is because America keeps Haiti down the same way America keeps Cuba down. It's because Haiti represents black power unified. Haiti are the group of Africans that defeated the greatest army Europe has ever seen. That's why everything bad that's happening in Haiti is authored by white Americans in the political system. The only way we're going to be able to stop America from doing the things that they do is to change the policies of America. The only way we're going to change the policies of America is to get into the apparatus of America ourselves. We need to participate in politics. And when our politicians participate in politics, they have to play the game because they are the minority. You can't get anything done without coalitions. But in order to have a coalition that's going to change the way America's attitude and position in the world, we have to take over enough to where we can make the decisions ourselves and not have to pander and partner with other groups that have other agendas. That's just the truth. We need to get more involved in politics. We need our businesses to start funding politicians that would do things for us. You see, a lot of you African Americans are very uneducated when it comes to the American political system. You don't see the black Democrats who participate in politics on the local level, in the state level, who give you the things that you need. All the little benefits that you got is because of black politicians that you demonize on a regular basis because you don't understand how it works. You don't understand that the president can't do things that involves the state. The president doesn't have power to change certain things. You can't ask the president to do certain things. The president is the president of the United States of America. They are the executive officer of the federal government, not state governments. If you want things to change in your local community, you need to be more engaged in your local politics. You need to be more engaged in your mayoral races, your governor races, your city council races. That's where the change happens within your states. States are sovereign countries in of themselves. This is a federal government called the United States of America, a collection of countries. Understand what a state is. Just like the Vatican, it's its own country. It's a state. Just like when Greece was high and mighty, those were city states. States are countries. Federal governments are the federal governments that you see now. When you hear the word federal, those are countries that have united under one government. Governors are basically presidents of states. Presidents are the leaders of the governors. That's how it works. Y'all didn't pay attention to civics class because it wasn't entertaining in school. I know y'all didn't. And I can tell by the way y'all talk. But we have to lower the temperature. What is the point of your argument? When you're arguing with people, with Africans, Caribbeans, what is the point of the argument? Are you just fighting for the sake of fighting? Are you fighting so you can get your punches in? Or are you fighting to get an understanding, to move forward in the conversation? What's the point? Because if you're getting online and you're fighting and you're arguing because, yeah, there's somebody who called you a name, somebody who disrespects some African American because they vibrating very low. So you decide you want to vibrate real low with them, and now y'all just fighting. What's the end game? Who's gonna win? What's the consensus at the end of that conversation? What did you learn? What did you gather? Were you listening to their grievances while you were telling them your grievances? Do you think that you're perfect? Do African Americans, do you really sit back and think that you're perfect, omnipotent, and everybody should just sit back and listen to you and everything that you say is correct and right? Continental Africans, do you think that everything that you say is absolutely right and everybody should just listen to you and you don't do anything wrong? Is that what you think? Caribbeans, do you think that everything you say is right and you don't do anything wrong and that nothing that you can say or do can hurt anybody's feelings and everybody should just bow down to you? Is that what all of you think? Because y'all sound like, because if that's the case, because all of you, us are the same, all of us got big ass egos, Africans, all of us got big egos. All us West Africans, us Bantu African, West Africans, we got big ass egos. That should tell you we the same. We got the same energy. That's to tell you we the same. We talk the same shit. That's to tell you we the same, and we don't back down. That should tell you we the same. Even in our arguments, all we doing is reinforcing how the same we actually are. To the point where we can't even identify who we arguing with until they have to tell us that they're Caribbean. They have to tell us they African. They have to tell us they African. Well, y'all know they're African American. But I'm just saying, we have to literally identify each other in the argument, because sometimes you be arguing with somebody, you think they argue with me thinking I'm just an African. That I've never been to America. People think that I'm just an African that's never been to America. People think I'm a Caribbean that's never been to America. That's how the same we are. I'm like, I'm an African American. So the fact that we can't even identify each other just off the eye test just tells you we are the same. And listen, white people, listen, Tyler, the South African in the VMA Awards, they just made her, she just won the damn Afrobeat Award. She's not an Afrobeat artist. She's an piano artist. But they mashed her in a category with Afrobeats because I guess Africans all look the same. Everybody, you see, white people look at us as the same, despite the tricks that they play to keep us divided. The only time they see the difference is when they need those differences to keep us from uniting. That's the only time. Other than that, they look at every one of us, Africans, Caribbeans, African Americans. We are the same African to them. We are the same African to Asians. And when we look at Asians, they're the same Asians to us. And when we look at white people, guess what? They're the same white people to us. So if we can recognize that white people are the same white people everywhere we go around the world, we see the same white person. And they can't tell us otherwise. What makes you think that we're not the same black people? We're not the same Africans. We are the same. So with all the enemies that we have in this world, with all you just saw the Spanish woman talking about she wanna click up with the KKK against us? Can you believe that? The fucking nerve of her. The fucking nerve of her. Because if it wasn't for us, her ass would be not here. Because no matter how much you shield for white people, they will never see you as them. White people will never see you as them. So that's why I don't understand any black people that try to align themselves with white people under the guise of nationalism. South Africa, African Americans. They try to unite with white people under nationalism when their history has told you that they will never, ever, 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 ever see you as one of them. And they will never, ever, ever respect you as one of them, no matter how many times you hurt your own people on their behalf. As a matter of fact, they don't respect you because you do it. Because why would they want to unite with somebody that would disrespect and belittle their own people on behalf of them? You're a traitor. If you're a traitor to your own community, why would they want you to be a part of them? Because you're just going to backstab them later. That's how they see it. And I don't blame them. So we African people, we need to mature our conversation. We need to take all this energy we got. We got all this power. We got all this money. We got all this energy. The only thing holding us back is the remaining ignorant chains wrapped around our heads. The fact that we just want to one-up our brothers and sisters while we letting these white people and these Asians and these other people stab us in the motherfucking back because we not paying attention. Because we think each other are evil, easy targets because we are each other. That should tell you. You will fight your brother in the house, but you won't go outside and fight the dude that's bullying you. Why? Even if your brother's bigger and stronger than the bully, you'll fight your brother with full strength because you figure he ain't gonna really hurt you that bad, right? He's your brother. You feel safe within that. Even if you fighting viscerally, you feel safe with your brother. Even though you fighting your brother, you mad. You will flex your full little baby powers against your big brother. But you won't go outside and fight that weak ass bully that you can easily whoop if you just mustered up the strength to do it. That's what we need to do. We are too damn powerful and strong. This is our time. This is the moment. It's time for us to take the planet back. So that means we got to wrap up these dumb conversations. We got to get rid of this stupid word tether. When I hear somebody say tether, I've immediately identified you. You're immediately identified as one of those FBA lost souls, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to try, if I'm going to try to have a rational conversation with you, see, can you get rid of the word tether? But if you are so damn determined to use your derogatory word to separate yourselves from somebody else while getting offended that somebody would have the nerve to create a derogatory term to talk about you, then you're a lost cause. And you're one of the ones that will be left behind. Because we don't have time for these elementary school conversations. As adults, we have to prepare this world for our children. It ain't about you. I'm 41 years old. It ain't about me. If you older than 30, it ain't about you. It's time to get ready for these babies. What are you going to do? What kind of world do you want your babies to grow up in? What kind of relationship do you want your babies to have with other Africans globally? What kind of connections do you want your babies to have around the world globally? What kind of options, financial options, business options, relationship options, livability options? What kind of options do you want your babies to have in the future? It's up to you. You have the power to give them those options. Now, if you're so selfish as a human being that you rather just argue and fight with your brothers and sisters so you can have a dopamine fix in your body, so you can say, ooh, I got one today. If that's more important to you than unifying with your brothers and sisters so we can fix our collective problems around this world so we can make this world a peaceful place, then you're an enemy of progress. And you need to understand that. You need to mature yourself. Understand what's going on. Educate yourself. Step back from your ignorance just for a minute and just think about what it is that you're doing, what effect that you have. Words do have power. Understand, when you create a word, you think it's just a light thing, tether. You think that's light? I bet you the white people thought nigga was just a light thing, just something to identify you with. And they can justify why they say it. They still justify why they say it. So we got a decision to make. And somebody needs to be the bigger one in the room. We all can be the bigger one in the room. And we need to focus our energy on something else that's more productive, that will benefit us and our children, because it's about the children. Think about the children, okay? Anyway, that's all I got to say for now, guys. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach some. I'm out.